What's up, y'all? It is your girl, Sarah from Sarah Styles here. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at my April numbers, how I did in April, strategies that worked in April, and things that I'm going to be changing during this pandemic. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining today. Welcome back if you are a subscriber, and if you are new here, I am a reseller, which means that I purchase inventory mostly from thrift stores, gently used items, and resell it on Poshmark Ebay platforms as such to make a profit. I also do data analytics. My YouTube channel and my Instagram are dedicated to data analytics for the reseller, and I also have now 3 dashboards to help you look at your data quick and easy, put your data in, and all of the charts and information populate so you can quickly see how your business is doing. And we're going to be looking at some of those dashboards today. I'm going to share with you my numbers today, how I did in April, things that worked during this time, and things that I'm going to be changing during the pandemic as it continues, strategies that have been working and things that I'm going to be changing. Business is fluid, new things happen. One of the good things about being a small business owner is I can quickly pivot my inventory, I can quickly pivot my strategies as a team of one. So I'm going to share that information with you today. Links to purchase my dashboards, if you're interested in those, are down below. There are 3 of them. I usually have some kind of sale running, or send me a DM on Instagram to see what the current code is, if I have a current code for a discount on any one of these. Lots of my videos on my channel also have how-tos and walk you through the dashboards. Today I'm going to walk you through my financial dashboard and strategies that work, and then I will follow it up with a video on what specifically was selling, top brands, top categories, and then show you exactly the items that sold. So make sure to subscribe if you like content like this. Hit that notification so you get notified when my next video comes out, and all of my other videos as well. I do a live video typically once a week. Right now I am doing an accountability series. For resellers, any reseller is welcome to join on the call or in the comments as well. We talk about our successes for the week and then what we're going to be working on for the following week. It's from side hustle to full-time resellers are involved in it. Lots of really good information comes out of that, and then helps you stay accountable and set goals. So definitely make sure to hit that subscribe and notification so you get notified when those come out as well. I am going to ask you, if you follow me, we did just move and I have set up my studio. You can kind of see a little bit behind me. I've had a couple questions about some stuff, so drop a note down below if you would like to see a video on how I set things up as a completely new space. And we did move. I got my own studio, and I also have my own storage space in our house. So drop a note down below if you would like to see a video on that. I don't know if it's interesting to you or if it's boring, so definitely drop a note down below if you're doing that. Also, I am working on getting my eBay store to kind of pick up some volume, and someone told me that the more followers you have on eBay, the better traction that you can get. So if you guys wouldn't mind popping over to my eBay store, the link is in my description. If you pop over there and do a follow, if you have an eBay store, leave it in the comments down below as well, and I will head on over to your eBay store and give you a follow. So, okay, so let's get started. It is currently May 1st, 2020. If you're watching this later on, which means that we are in the middle of a pandemic. We have been stay-at-home orders for about a month and a half. Only like grocery stores have been open. No sourcing has been open. Slowly, I'm in Denver metro area. Slowly, non-essential, essential places are opening up if they follow proper protocol. So we'll kind of continue to monitor what's happening there. Before we get into my numbers, I kind of want to give you an idea of where I was at in April. So April, we are stay-at-home orders. I am a mom of 3 children, which now means that I have 3 kids at home. My 14-year-old is, remote learning, special needs child, so he needs help with that. And then I have a 5-year-old who is technically preschool, but I try and do some education stuff with her. And then I also have a 3-year-old. So I went from having 2 kids and a 3-year-old at home to having 3 kids and having to remote learn. So my time for reselling has dwindled a little bit, and then also we moved towards the end of March. We started the process. Buying and selling a house is about quickly is like a month and a half long process. So the past month and a half, on top of remote learning and staying home with 3 kids, we were moving. So time has been lessened on the platforms. So keep that in mind as you go forward. And then also, like I said, we are in the middle of a pandemic. There is a recession happening right now. There's one stimulus package going on. Another stimulus package is in the works to be sent out. So that being said, it means people's spending is different. We don't necessarily know what it means, but it means that it's different and things are changing from the normal. Sometimes I include economic data in these. There's a little bit of a lag in the economic data, so I've chosen not to include it in this video because there's a lag. Possibly the next video will be far enough ahead to have some effects of the pandemic to be able to look at. I did do it, and you can check out my video on this. I did do the effects of the pandemic on resellers. I did a anonymous sample survey to look at the data and how it was specifically affecting resellers. And what came out of that, there's a video if you want to watch the whole analysis. What came out of that is people were still buying. They were shifting what they were buying, not so much clothes, but more like toys and games, books, home goods and types of things. ASP was down. People were spending. The quantity of selling was up, which makes sense because it's e-commerce, right? So people were at home, so what they were buying online. However, they had less money, so their ASP went down. So that's kind of where we're going looking into my numbers. So let's get started, and I will share. So this first dashboard that I'm going to show you, this is my newest product. It is a dashboard to look at all of your data on all of the platforms that you sell on. I currently sell on eBay, Poshmark, Tradesies, Etsy, and Depop. Depop and Tradesies, I don't get a lot of traffic on there. Etsy is like maybe 1 or 2 items a month. So my big ticket items are eBay and Poshmark. However, because of the way that it's set up, you can enter in up to 30 platforms that you sell on to look at this data. It's very customized to you. My data is going to show where I sell on, but so that you know for the future, or so that you know if you're interested in this, where it sells. So let's start looking at the data. All right, so high level, this is year-to-date summary. How am I doing year-to-date? 25% sell-through rate. I'm okay with that. I would like to see that higher, but we are in a regression right now, and I am actively listing a lot more items. So as I'm listing a lot more items, it takes a little bit of a lag for those to start selling, right? Depending on the item, 30 to 6 months turnaround. The higher average sale price, the longer it usually takes to turn around. But that is my high level numbers. What I like to look at is my performance. This is currently from 28 days to the previous 28 days. How am I doing? This is important to look at because the pandemic, all this kind of started mid-March. And my March numbers were not great, but you can see every single one of these is green. So that means my April compared to my March is gone up, which is even better because I was moving and had kids at home. So seeing all of these green is great. Like I said, I am cranking through some listings right now, 169. I got a sourcing is down, right? I can't be at thrift stores. I have a cousin who closed down her boutique like 6 months ago. And so I hit her up and was like, hey, do you have any leftover inventory? We worked out a deal and I bought like 550 new attack items from her. So that's kind of kept me afloat. I'm trying to crank those out as quickly as I can, get them listed. On that note, drop a note down below if you guys would be interested in some mystery reseller boxes. That's a lot of inventory for one person to process. And I think our thrift stores might be opening up soon. So if you guys are interested in new attack reseller boxes, drop a note down below. I may look into doing that. So everything is up. That's great. My gross revenue, so remember, we're comparing basically April to March here because it's a 28-day rolling comparison and we're at, May 1st. But if you were to look at this in the middle of the month, it would compare, the middle of the month to 28 days before. So that's good. This, however, you can see definitely this downward trend for March and April. But if you look here, my April is up by a little bit. That is reassuring to a reseller. What's up, Bear?
Mom could...
What? I'm a mom of 3 trying to do YouTube videos during that. So we may get interrupted. So you can see this is a downward trend. However...
Find your office.
Ryder, get out, please. Thank you, Bear. So you can see April is up. Thank you, Logan. You can see April is up from March. That is reassuring for sure. So if you're out there reselling and you're a little freaked out, have faith, stay consistent, try to lower your expenses so the profit that you're making is higher, but just keep at it, stay consistent, do what you can. That's a positive note. Monthly summary. So right here you can see we are looking at April 2020. This is what I made for the month. Sell-through rate for the month was not great. A couple things that go to this. One, yes, I mean, you can see up here, my April was definitely down compared to some of these higher months. So, you know, that makes sense. I definitely had a lower month, but I was also cranking through. If you look here, my listed items versus my sold items, I was cranking through listings. My typical, let me show you like a previous month. So in February, I only listed 60 items. I'm a big fan of relisting because I am a mom working a lot, and it's hard for me to crank out new listings, find the time to source, and find the time to list them. However, I have been working with my lister a little bit more, and I am kind of taking the risk to pay her. So I'm putting more money into my expenses so that I can get more inventory out there in hopes to bring up my revenue. So you can see I am cranking out. So the items that I'm selling now, you know, it takes time for them to sell. And so that is kind of skewing my sell-through rate because I did list so many items this month. The other thing with this is my Posh and eBay, this is mainly Posh and eBay. Posh was probably closer to like 12%. However, I'm still trying to figure out eBay. If you have tips, leave them down below. My eBay sell-through is like 2 to 3%. So that's why this kind of gets lower when you put in both of those. My average sale price is coming back up. That's good news. Let's look at what it was in March. It had gone down, just a little bit in March. That's not bad actually. February. So my February, my average sale price was a little bit lower. However, I sold more items. So I like to be between that $30 and $40 range. Before the pandemic, I was actually, there we go. Before the pandemic, I was shooting for closer to a $50 average sale price. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you my new strategies for the pandemic. I will say one of them is bringing in lower average sale price items because people are spending on e-commerce, but they're not necessarily spending $100 on, you know, a pair of boots. So some of those $20 jeans is what I am seeing is selling, and that I'll show more about that in my in what sold video that's to come after this. So this here is my monthly revenue goal. If you watch me or you watch a daily refinement, I am doing a mentorship with him to get to $1,000 net a week in reselling 20 hours or less. So those are both lives on my channel, on his channel on Wednesday night. So make sure to hit the notification for those so you get notified when those are up, and what we're doing and what I'm learning for him. Lots of really good information. But this goal number is that goal for me to get to that. So it's essentially roughly 6,800 gross revenue, and that's net. So to get to $1,000 net, roughly I need to make $68,000 gross revenue a month because I pay a lister, and then that accounts for inventory. That does not account for other expenses in my business because I do other things besides just reselling, like my social media and my dashboard sales. So taking out other expenses such as internet or square footage, that is allocated across everything. But this kind of gives me a rough estimate of where I want to get. So for April, I was at 31% of that goal. This is helpful. You know, I want to see this go up. And then I do want to touch on my average COG is $4 an item. I'm usually roughly around 5 to 7. So $4 is less. This is because of the new attack items that I got from my cousin. They were very reasonably priced. When I shop at thrift stores, I'm not ashamed. I feel fine spending up, you know, a nice purse I'll spend $10, $20 on. So for the simulator, I want to get to this 6,800 gross revenue each month. These are my options based off of my data, what I can be doing. Right now, I'm sitting around this $36 average sale price, which means that I need to get to sell 187 items a month. And in order to do that with my current sell-through rate, I need to have 3,035 items listed. This is why I'm trying to pump out the inventory, and why to me it is worth paying someone to help me list so that I can up how much inventory I'm putting out so that I can start making more sales. And then also, depending on where it happens with the recession in the economy, I may start trying to move this average sale price up so that I can make less sales in order to get to that $6,800, which means that I'd have to have less active listings. Let's look at the inventory. So this is the year-to-date summary. Kind of does tell you the same information. My average COGS for year-to-date, like I said, I'm right around that $5.36. I shop bins and then also retail thrift stores. So those are the main sources of my sourcing. I don't do like liquidation, minus what I bought from my cousin. I don't typically do stuff like that, all from thrift stores. So we're looking at April 2020, my top 10 categories that sold, my top 10 categories by gross revenue that sold for the month. Anything up here is what I want to see. It means it's the highest, up in this corner is the higher average sale price, higher sell-through rate. Those are my BOLO categories, right? Things that do well for me. I click on it and this can tell me, so the smaller the bubble, the less items that I have. So this actually was a nightgown that I sold last night. It was a vintage nightgown. Well, by the time you watch this video, it's probably a couple of days ago because it takes me time to edit it, but it sold the last day of April. So it sold high. I only had one of them, so that was good. But I essentially, in the perfect world, a large bubble with, up in this corner is like my best performing category. But this helps me see other things that are my top 20 categories: shoes, bags, and dresses. That's typically my tops. I have recently started adding jeans. If you've watched my past videos, you know me, I don't like jeans. However, with this haul that I got from my cousin, it was kind of like buy everything, so I just got what I got. She had a lot of jeans in there. They're new with tags. I'm learning styles. It's been a good learning experience for me, and then it's giving me data to figure out what is selling for jeans, so then hopefully in the future I can start carrying more jeans. So jeans is up there, and if you look here, an 8% sell-through rate, which isn't super, oh no, that's pants, sorry. Let me find, I don't know what it is. And then you come over here and you look at the days on hand is 84. However, I'm going to say some of this is, I don't want to say it's skewed. It's really real data, but all of the jeans that I listed were like 2 weeks ago. So a lower sell-through rate for those is realistic because, they would have to be like flying off the shelves, every single one of them. That's not realistic, but I am going to keep an eye on jeans. The other thing I want to know, I don't normally do shorts either. However, my shorts have made this list as well because I got them from my cousin. So it's a good way for me to see new categories that I'm not selling, that I don't normally sell. You can go down, I can now go down to brands, and this one was really interesting to me. So these are top gross revenue brands. So if something, like Michael Kors, Marc Jacobs, I only have to sell a couple of those for them to hit this mark because they're typically higher price items. But this is very, very reassuring for me because it means that people are still spending higher price items. And like I said, we just looked, my average sale price has kind of stayed consistent. I am, however, adding in more lower ASP items to try and increase my sell-through rate, pick up traffic in my closet in my eBay store, hoping to get people to also come back and buy or bundle with my higher price items, or just helping me rank. If I'm selling more items, then that helps you rank on the platforms. The days on hand, Dear John. So this is a little bit skewed because Dear John is something I got from my cousin's haul. So the only one that sold, I think I've sold a couple of them, but I haven't had them for very long. So after I have them for a little bit, we'll see a true indicator here. Uggs is up there. I sold a couple pairs of UGG slippers, also I think a boot, and I will show you the exact items that go into this data and a little bit more of a detailed look into the data in my next video, but I just wanted to quickly go over that here. Platforms, what is happening with platforms? So if you've watched me in the past, I was mostly on Poshmark, dabbling in eBay, and my average sale price was high, and as my average sale price was getting higher, my sell-through rate continued to decrease, which is normal. It takes things longer. Higher price items typically have longer days on hand, but because of that, I wanted to get more exposure. So I started pumping out more listings and focusing more on eBay, and then I also went to Depop and Tradesies and listed all my vintage on Etsy. I'm gonna say I'm gonna hone that back in. And this is where, being a business of one person, I can quickly pivot my business model based off of my data, based off of what is working for me. I am going to focus on Poshmark and eBay. Etsy is Etsy, listings are there. So I'll do that, but I was spreading myself too thin, I think. And so I'm doing this mentorship with Chris, and we were talking, and really learning and understanding one platform before you move to the next one. And I think Poshmark and eBay are like the big guys, right? So really learning eBay and getting eBay to where I feel like I'm comfortable and I'm like doing, what needs to be done on there. And then once I have Poshmark and eBay under my belt, and I kind of know that I feel like I'm figured out how to get them to work for me, I may then venture out, probably to Mercari. I think that's the next big one, but subscribe and follow me to see my journey and see what I do next. So platforms, these are my all-time top performing platforms. Poshmark is no surprise because I sold on Poshmark much longer. So this is all time, forever that I've been on Poshmark. I've been on Poshmark a little over a year and a half, and this is how many items I have sold on there. However, this is really interesting and validates me moving to eBay. My eBay average sale price is higher all time. My eBay average sale price is a better performer than Poshmark. And then if you come down here and look at this is my current data. eBay is still outperforming Poshmark. My cost of goods between the two platforms is roughly around $4. So my cost of goods doesn't really matter. The reason that you want to look at this is, let's say on eBay you sell a lot more purses, but the purses that you're selling, your cost of goods is like $20, and then you're only making, like let's say a $10 profit. So that's something that you want to be cognizant of, the things that are selling on the different platforms and what you're paying for them. So just because your average sale price is higher on one platform doesn't mean that you're bringing home more money. In my case, it does, but your data may reflect differently. So keep an eye on that. Platform revenue, I don't have a year-over-year analysis for eBay because I started towards the end of last year. So that doesn't mean anything. My sales for Poshmark are lower than they were last year. That makes sense with the pandemic, with the moving, and with the kids at home. However, I was only on Poshmark last year, and between these two, my overall revenue is up. So diversifying and branching out to more closets, even when I was working less, I still made more money. Had I stayed on Poshmark solely, I would have made less money. I wouldn't have had this extra $768. Average sale price, I worked really hard to increase my average sale price. So my average sale price for Poshmark has increased roughly $6, which is pretty big. $6 times 100 items is $600, right? So that's where that kind of matters. But you also have to keep in mind, and I'm going to share at the end of this video two things that I'm changing, things that aren't working. And something is, average sale price is great, but you also have to, you're going to have lower sell-through rates, and you're going to have longer days on hand. So you need to keep that in mind. Having a higher average sale price, but if it sits longer, you have to look at your business model and see if that's something that is going to work for you. And then we have sourcing down here. I have not done any online sourcing. I have that in there in case I decide to do some retail arbitrage or something. But sourcing, thrift stores and bins mainly. And then, like I said, cousin haul is the stuff that I got from my cousin. There's no year over year for this because I didn't do it last year. I also only started shopping at the bins mid of 2019. I have a love-hate relationship with the bins. The data kind of tells me, and let's look at it now. Well, let's go back. So thrift stores, my average sale price for items that I purchased from the thrift store has gone up. That's a big jump. So that's very exciting for me. I worked really hard last year to get my average sale price items higher. The items that I'm buying from the thrift store are producing that. But am I making a profit? Am I just spending more money and so my profits are higher, or am I actually making more money? So let's look at my cost of goods. My cost of goods at the average is about $5 from the thrift store. But my profit is $36. So increasing it is actually working. Spending a little bit more money. So here, my thrift store, I'm spending $5 on average. Bins, I'm spending about $2.40. It's definitely cheaper at the bins. If you're someone who doesn't have a lot of capital to invest, the bins is definitely better because you can get cheaper items. However, for me, my profit from my bins finds are lower. And I'm going to point out also, bins typically take more time. Everybody is different, but in general, bins usually take more time because you're searching, you're looking. You can't, like for me, I know categories that work for me. I can't just go to the dresses and only look at the dresses. You're only finding what you can find. This is my data. Your data may say a different story, so it's definitely good to look at your data, see what it's saying. The cousin haul, I'm not going to worry too much about this right now because I've had things listed for like 2 weeks. However, it is promising that it's around that $30 mark. I bought a bunch of stuff that I had no idea what it was. I didn't know the brands. I didn't look at it. I knew her boutique, so I knew like the type of things that she looked. But this was all like shelter in place, right? So she left it on her front step. I picked it up and put it in my car. I had no idea what I was getting, but it was my cousin, so, I knew it wasn't like trash. And then I'm going to go into the revenue split out really quickly. This is essentially how much money I am bringing home. 62% of my gross revenue is coming to me. So after I take out my fees, my shipping, and my cost of goods, I'm going to note my fees are not completely accurate right now because eBay bills me on a calendar month. And so when I go in, I get my invoice for the month and then I go in and put my fees for all of that. So I'm missing some fees from eBay in here. So my fees are likely more. I posted on my Instagram the other day, my eBay fees for last month were 22%. So a lot of people in the community, it's like, oh, eBay fees are 10%. It's not as transparent. It is not a flat 20% fee. So definitely keep an eye on your eBay fees and what's happening over there. You may be over that 20% Poshmark fee. What's up?
Look at my cute sculpture.
It's lovely.
It's a brownie and a baby brownie.
It's cute. What's Bear doing?
Just sitting down.
Okay. Another child. My 5-year-old loves art, so she was showing me her sculpture. So that is this. I'm going to break here. So I'm going to get into Poshmark specific strategies, what I've been doing there and what's working for me. Before we get into that, I would like to talk about based off of this data, what am I going to do? What am I moving forward? What am I going to do? I'm going to bring in, I have that haul from my cousin. The average sale price for that I think is a little bit lower because there's a lot of tops in there. The jeans are selling between $20 and $30, but they're selling fairly quickly based off of the 2 weeks that I've had it. So I'm going to do a little bit more of a mix than I typically do. And this is going to work for me for a couple of reasons. One, I have the inventory. It's kind of what works for me, but I decided to buy this inventory because I knew that a lot of it was going to be lower average sale price items in hopes that people are still spending on e-commerce, but maybe not spending those higher average sale price items that I like to see, but that will continue to give me kind of quick flip, turned over, high sell-through rates, low days on hand. So I'm going to kind of do a mix of those. I'll probably, once I get midway through this, start looking at other inventory sources, you can see from my categories, my bags were still up there. I'm still selling bags. I'll show you in my next video, exactly what's selling and more details into my inventory. But I'm going to continue to do bags and shoes because those higher price items are continuing to sell for me. However, I'm going to be bringing in a little bit lower average sale prices to kind of get my sell-through rate to increase, more traffic to my closet. And then in order to do that, so I don't usually do lower average sale price items because it takes me the same amount of time to list something for $100 as it takes me to list for $20. The reason that I have decided to go for it with this is, like I said, it's going to increase traffic and hopefully quick flips, but also I've been using a lister to help me do more. So yes, that is coming out of my profit. However, it's allowing me to double. I mean, if you look at my monthly summary, like I said, I was at, 208 this month, where in let's go to February. February, I was listing 60. So I am cranking out a lot more items. And the only way with children at home during a pandemic and shelter in place that I can do that remote learning is to have a lister. So for me, that makes sense. I did a video with Chris the other day about how to find a virtual assistant. If that's something that you're considering, watch that video. Send me a DM. So now I'd like to look at, this is my sales dashboard for Poshmark. This is Poshmark specific data. This is export your sales report, copy and paste it into here. There's a couple other tabs I'm not going to show you because they're kind of redundant. It's Poshmark specific financial data. However, with my newest dashboard, I have all of that data together. I just showed it to you. So I'm not going to show it to you. If you are mainly on Poshmark, this is probably sufficient for you. You don't need that other one. I personally will be using all three of my dashboards because they all have different aspects. But if you're mainly on Poshmark and you're looking to just purchase one, this would probably be the one that I would start with. It's a copy and paste to start to learn your data. So what are we looking at now? Type of orders. Keep in mind where I was at this month, shelter in place, a pandemic, we were moving. I was not on Poshmark that often. Poshmark is a social app. You have to be on there doing things to be making those sales. Another reason my sales were probably down. My offer to likes is 8%. I typically hover less than 10% because I don't use offer to likes as a strategy. I did a video a couple weeks ago. You can watch that, but essentially it was the higher your average sale price, the lower your offer to like percentage, which makes sense. If you send an offer for something that is $100, people aren't going to be like, sure, I'll spend $90 willy-nilly. If you send an offer on an item that's $15, people are more willing to be like, sure, I was kind of thinking about it, but I'll impulsively spend $10. Because I have a higher average sale price, offer to likes typically does not sell for me. When I have time, I will do offer to likes at like 10% for the algorithm boost because I do think that that's a thing. You'll notice if you do an offer to like, the next day, within the next 24 hours, you'll start seeing likes on that. So I do think it gives you more visibility. I don't use it as a strategy to make sales though. Other offers, and this is what's interesting. So most of my sales came from other offers. And if you look down here, and this is another reason that I don't like offer to likes, is my other offer, my average sale price for other offer is significantly higher too, $9. That's like more than 30% higher. What I'm finding on my inventory, and this is why I think that you need to look at yours, everybody's is different, but what I am finding is people are actually sending me offers that are better than I would have sent them. We all have this is the bottom line that we'll take. And so sometimes when I send an offer, I'll send that bottom line just to get a sale, where if you kind of wait and sit on it, people will send an offer for higher than what you were willing to accept, right? So this works for me because I have higher average sale price items, and I bank into my business model that I'm okay with things sitting a little bit longer. If you're a quick flip type of person, lower average sale price items, look at your data and see what's working for you. Bundles is only 4%. I've had up to like 15-60% before if I am aggressively pursuing. I have like a bundle strategy. Again, I have a video on that, but if I'm aggressively pursuing that, I can get that higher. I was not on Poshmark a lot. And then I only do a shipping discount if I have to, so that's always going to be the same as my offer to likes. I've done free shipping in the past and didn't notice any move in my data. It didn't work for me. What I thought was interesting is my buy it now is higher. And what I'm noticing, what I think with this is I think there are a lot of new sellers on Poshmark. Poshmark is pushing their app heavily right now and getting a lot of new people. If you sell on Posh, you're pretty familiar that a lot of new people are your buy it now buyers, because they don't necessarily know that you can send an offer. But this is 20%. That's pretty high for me, and I do appreciate that $42 average sale price here. I want to look at my daily as well too. This is interesting because people are home now. I mean, some are working, some have kids at home, but like people's schedules have changed. So what has that done to e-commerce, Poshmark specifically in this data that we're looking? It's interesting because people are still mainly shopping on Saturday and Sunday. And something that I'm noticing on my YouTube channel actually is people are home during the day, but my views during the day on YouTube actually went down. And I think it's because people are home, but now they're working from home or they're home with children, not, taking a lunch break and watching a YouTube video, right? Like you can't do that with children. So my views on YouTube are actually higher in the evenings now. And so I'm wondering if that's kind of the same trend. I'm not necessarily seeing more sales during the week because people are still busy during the week doing children and working. It's still the general e-commerce trend that you see where sales are higher on Saturday and Sunday. No repeat customers for the month. This is in here. I send a card, a note card or a business card with my QR code on it. And then also, thanks for this, or enjoy the jeans, Sarah. I don't do anything. I don't do crazy packaging. I did a deep dive. So if you have the dashboard, you get access into my Facebook user group and we do a deep dive. And we did a deep dive, and essentially fancy packaging does not mean anything for your sales. So I don't do it because it's a waste of time. It's not a waste. If you enjoy it, have at it. I don't enjoy it. Time is money. I would rather be downstairs shipping out items quickly and then spending time with my family. So I don't do it. But I've considered trying to look into branding and doing things with this. Right now, that's not where my focus is because of everything else that's going on. So, but that's interesting just to see in the past, if I have return customers, I have gone into Poshmark and created a bundle and said, hey, I'm offering this sale, or I just listed, or, kind of target them and kind of let them know that I know that they have purchased from me before. By state is interesting. California and Texas are usually my big ones, mostly because of volume, population. Like they're the bigger states. This is not weighted based off of population. Washington is also up there often because I do sell vintage, and I think a lot of times this area does like vintage. Colorado is interesting. It's up there. That's not always the case for me. When I have people who buy from me in Colorado, I always imagine that it was something they donated, and then they're like, damn, I really didn't want to donate that, and then they buy it. So they're like buying their own thing. I don't think that's really the case, but that's like the story that I tell myself. Am I sending this back to the original owner? And sometimes I do wonder, because I have purchased something at a thrift store and then shipped out, and their address is within the radius, like they would have donated at that thrift store. So I always wonder if it was originally their item. It's probably not, but that's just kind of my fun story. Do you guys tell yourself stories about what's going on? Okay. So that is my data for April. Overall, this is why I love the numbers. I was freaking out most of April, telling myself things were down. I wasn't doing good, and I wasn't. We looked at my chart, and it was definitely down from previous months. However, it was not as bad as I thought it was. A lot of me being down, I think, is because I was busy doing different things. I've started cranking out more listings. That typically takes a little bit of lag. Typically about 30 days, you'll start to see the results of your, efforts in listing. So I'm hoping by this next video, when you guys watch my May numbers video, that I have huge news for you and I'm just selling boo-goo bucks. So things weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. That's always a positive note. People are still buying. Keep your consistency. Keep doing what you can. Things are crazy right now. Do what you can. Don't put too much pressure on yourself as well. But I am really starting, the virtual assistant has really helped me because it takes a lot of that pressure of listing off of me so that I can crank out a lot more inventory and not have to worry about the listing and still being able to be consistent with my listings. I am looking at average sale price items. A lot of the haul that I have is lower average sale price items, and the reason that I purchased that is to get sell-through rates up and just kind of quick flip, get some capital going so that I can continue to stay afloat during these times, and not necessarily, I don't have the luxury right now of waiting for people to buy those items because of what's happening right now. I don't have as much confidence that my higher price items are going to sell. However, and you'll see this in my next video, they are. Some of them are. The high price items are still selling. My average sale price is, rebounded and it's there. So people are still out buying. That's what I'm changing, things that are working. I don't do offer to likes on Poshmark. I'm going to continue not to do that. However, I am going to spend more time on Poshmark this month because now we're not moving. So I typically try to spend 30 minutes to an hour a day on Poshmark just doing social activities. I've done a video on the Poshmark algorithm and what social activities are actually worth your time. So definitely check that out. When I do that, I do notice an increase in sales. So I'm going to get back to that. And then I'm also working on learning eBay. I'm doing this mentorship with Chris, so follow me along with that so you can see other things that I'm going to be implementing this month as I learn about it from Chris. But part of that was the VA. I'm going to continue with the VA. I am putting up more money up front for that. I'm going to do it for a month and see if increasing my listings is helping. The kids are wanting me. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification if you like content like this, and give me a thumbs up on your way out. Make sure to leave your YouTube or head on over to my eBay store and give me a follow over there. Leave your YouTube, or not YouTube, your eBay and also your Poshmark closet. I'll give you some share love over there and follow you as well. So I hope everyone has a good day. Let me know how your sales were as well, strategies that you're working on too. Have a good day.